I'm 86 years old, and the hardest thing about this age isn't the fading memory. It's the crystal clear realization that for 40 years I treated my body like a machine that didn't need fuel, just maintenance. I spent decades as a high school teacher, living by the bell and eating out of boxes, thinking that convenience was a reward for my hard work. Now I sit in a quiet house and realize that while I was busy teaching history, I was ignoring the biological future I was building with every forkful. My husband Arthur paid the ultimate price for our shared ignorance. He died of colon cancer at 71. I am telling you this now because I have spent my final years learning how to eat for life, and I need you to understand that your kitchen is either the most powerful pharmacy you'll ever own or a place where you slowly sign away your future. The first thing I had to learn, and the advice I give to anyone who will listen, is to stop feeding the fire of inflammation. For years, Arthur and I lived on what I call dead food, things that could sit in a pantry for 3 years without changing. We ate red meats that were charred on the grill and processed deli meats packed with nitrates. We thought a ham sandwich was a quick, healthy lunch. It wasn't. It was a chemical burden. Now I choose foods that fight back. I fill my plate with deep, dark greens and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower. These aren't just sides. They are the soldiers that protect your cells. I think back to how many times I served Arthur a steak with a side of instant potatoes, and I wish I could trade those meals for a simple bowl of lentils or a plate of steamed greens. Inflammation is the soil where cancer grows, and you have to stop fertilizing it with processed garbage. The second truth I've lived into is the lethal deception of sugar. In my teaching days, I survived on energy, which usually meant a sugary pastry in the teacher's lounge or a soda to get through the afternoon slump. I didn't realize that I was feeding the very thing I feared most. Cancer cells crave sugar. It's their primary fuel. When I look at the way we used to celebrate every small win with a cake or a sugary dessert, I see it differently now. I've replaced those spikes and crashes with the natural sugars found in berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. They satisfy the craving, but they come packed with antioxidants that actually repair the damage we do to our DNA. I spent 40 years looking for shortcuts to energy, not realizing that I was mortgaging my health for a temporary lift. Another thing I wish I had known decades ago is the power of the living gut. Arthur and I never thought about fiber beyond a cereal box commercial. We ate refined flours and white breads because they tasted cleaner. But your immune system lives in your gut, and if you don't feed the good bacteria, with diverse plant-based fibers, your defenses crumble. I now eat as many different colors as I can find in a single day. I eat beans, seeds, and nuts as if they were my medicine, because they are. I think of the years we spent feeling sluggish and bloated, blaming it on age, when really we were just starving our inner defenders. You cannot have a strong body if you are neglecting the microscopic world inside you. The most practical advice I can offer you is to reclaim your time from the convenience trap. I know you are tired. I know the day is long, and a frozen meal seems like a gift. But that gift is a Trojan horse. I remember the nights Arthur and I would sit in front of the television, exhausted, peeling back the plastic film on a processed dinner. We thought we were saving time, but we were actually cutting our time short. Now, even at 86, I spend the time to soak my beans and chop my vegetables. There is a quiet, meditative power in preparing food that you know will nourish you. It is an act of self-respect. If you are too busy to eat real food, you are too busy to live a long life. It is as simple and as brutal as that. Finally, I want you to listen to the quiet signals. Your body isn't a silent partner. It speaks in whispers long before it screams. I remember Arthur's persistent heartburn, the way he'd just pop an antacid and keep eating the same fried foods that caused it. We ignored the bloating, the skin rashes, the fatigue. We called it getting older. It wasn't aging, it was a warning. Now I pay attention to how a meal makes me feel an hour later. If it makes me sleepy or heavy, I don't eat it again. Your food should give you life, not take it away. I spent 40 years ignoring those whispers until they turned into a diagnosis that took my husband away. I'm 86 now, and the house is very quiet. The sun is dipping below the trees, and I'm about to prepare a simple dinner of steamed fish and greens. It's a lonely meal, but I treat it with a reverence I never had when the house was full of noise. I can't go back to 1985 and take that processed tray out of Arthur's hands. I can't tell my younger self that the instant life I was buying was a lie. All I can do is sit here and hope that you choose differently. Don't wait for a someday that might not come to start respecting the body you inhabit. You only get one. If these words meant anything to you, perhaps you could share one small change you're willing to make in your kitchen today. I'd like to think that somewhere a chair will stay filled because of it.